Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, it's time to have a look at the top 10 cards from Dream League. Just came out in Japan, it's just become legal for tournament play, so we need to look at the top 10, and I don't feel great about the top 10 for this particular set. There are 7 cards which were on my not quite list, and honestly, you could pop them in for half the cards on the list, but I feel alright about it, so let's get rolling. The one omission I do want to mention that didn't make the top 10 is Solgaleo and Lunala Tag Team GX. First time in a while there's been a Tag Team GX that I have not put in my top 10 cards from the set. And the reason is, I don't think it necessarily does anything special. The main attack here for 4 energy does 230, and you can't use this attack during your next turn, which is basically Reshuram and Charizard's attack. And that's really good. So why am I not putting it on my list? And I think the reason is very simple. I see this as a card that goes in Malamar decks. And in Malamar decks, we've got Garchomp and Giratina. And we've got Gengar and Mimikyu. And we've got Ultra Necrozma. And I don't know if this is really going to give us anything for those decks that we don't already have. So that is the one omission which I think could come back to bite me. But I'm kind of alright with this. In at number 10, arguably a bit too much of a personal choice, it's EXCADRILL. I am convinced that EXCADRILL is going to be really, really good. EXCADRILL for 1 fighting energy does 120 damage, but you have to discard the top 4 cards of your deck. Or, for 1 fighting energy, it does 180 damage if you have got 3 or fewer cards remaining in your deck. But don't forget, you've always got Diancie Prism Star and Martial Arts Dojo to do a little bit of extra damage, and I think we have an absolute monster on our hands, albeit one which could be awkward in terms of decking out. But then again, we've got the other EXCADRILL. Add in that you're hitting weakness against Pikachu and Zekrom, and that you're hitting weakness against SILVALLY-GX, more on him later, and I think we could legitimately have a powerhouse here. Great combo with the other EXCADRILL, stage 1, single energy, good damage, hitting for a great weakness. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is going to be really, really good. In at number 9, I'm cheating a little bit. I'm putting Rosa and Will. They're not the best supporters from the set, they're coming up in a little bit, but they are still very, very good supporters that I expect to see a fair amount of play. Rosa can only be used if one of your Pokemon was KO'd during your opponent's last turn, and you search your deck for a Pokemon and a trainer card and a basic energy and put them into your hand. That's frankly ridiculous. That is great search, though it is awkward given that you had to have a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn. Having said that, Diantha demands that you had a Fairy Pokemon KO'd the previous turn, and that works alright, so maybe it's alright, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's going to be okay. Will, for his part, lets you fix the result of your next coin flip, whether it be from a trainer card, an ability, or an attack. This is going to get broken. Someone is going to break Will. Will is going to, at some point, cause an issue in the game. I feel really good about this. In at number 8, we've got LILLIE'S POKÉDOLL, which is literally just a reprint of RoboSub, or indeed, a reprint of Clefairy from way back in the base set. What's kind of cool, though, is it's actually better. Because, you see, both Clefairy and RoboSub, you can get them out the active or get them off your bench, but you have to discard them. LILLIE'S POKÉDOLL actually goes to the bottom of your deck. So generally speaking, if you had a RoboSub in the active and you really wanted to switch it, but you didn't have a switch, you can't retreat it, you got to discard it. Putting it to the bottom of your bench is way better. This can buy you a turn. Or if you're playing a hit and run deck like Hitmonchan, it can go up in the active after a hit. so your opponent doesn't take a prize. If your opponent has got 3 turns remaining and you just whack down 4 of these and pass, they cannot win the game. That's kind of cool, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of cool. In at number 7, we've got Magneton. Now, Magneton, as I have said a couple of times since, and I did pin a comment in the video, I did unfortunately use a mistranslation of Magneton. What it allows you to do, this is a real translation now, what it allows you to do is KO it, giving up a prize, and then search your deck for any free supporter cards and put them into your hand. But in a world where we've got Lieutenant Surge's strategy, so you can search for that and grab any 2 other supporters and play both of them immediately, this is phenomenal. There's plenty of cards around like Counter Gain and Martial Arts Dojo that want you to be behind on prizes. It's phenomenal with Lieutenant Surge's strategy. Is it better than Miss Magius? I think a lot of the times, yes. They're both stage 1s, you KO both of them to get the effect, and both of them really help you get rolling. Although I will say that Miss Magius does have Duskstone, so you can just evolve straight away. That does give it a bit of a boost. In at number 6, we've got Raichu. And I love Raichu. I, in fact, did a video yesterday about how Raichu went and won a tournament already. I'll link that one in the description. Incidentally, I have done videos about all of these cards. I will pop links to all of them in the description. But the point is, this is basically just a better Raichu GX, because it attacks for 1 energy rather than 2, and it does 20 damage for each lightning energy you have on the field. Now, to be fair, Raichu GX did 20 base plus 20 for each, but it was for 2 energy and it gave up 2 prizes. This is for 1 energy and gives up 1 prize. So you play Nuzzle deck. It's got Nuzzle. Pachirisu gets your energy out with Snuggly Generator, and Emolga searches out your Nuzzlers. It's already been winning in Japan on the first weekend. The Nuzzle deck might actually be better than it's ever been. Nuzzle might be viable now, and it's all thanks to Raichu. In at number 5, we've got Wishy Washy. Wishy Washy is going to be phenomenal for blocking decks. Wishy Washy's got an ability which says, at the end of your opponent's turn, if there are any damage counters on Wishy Washy, flip a coin. If tails, shuffle this card and all cards attached to it into your deck. I should mention all of our translation here come from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net. It runs away, which does fit thematically with how the character works, or the Pokemon works, in the game. It schools, it unschools, etc. But it's got 180 HP as a basic. If your opponent can't get a 1-hit KO on this, you can flip tails and then boom, back you go. Most of the time you're going to want to hit tails, and generally, heads is good, tails is bad. I don't think that's the case here, honestly. I think this is pretty gosh darn good. And of course, if you don't hit heads, just retreat or switch to the bench and just try and hit it next turn and next turn. And if your opponent can't 1-hit KO, they can't KO. In at number 4, we've got Steelix. I think Steelix has a chance to become a genuine powerhouse deck. The lovely Antoine Boulet, who is living over in Japan at the moment, helps out the channel quite a bit. He made some deck lists straight after this set was revealed. One of the ones he made was Steelix, and I see why he did. Steelix, for just 2 colorless energy, lets you discard as many Pokemon from your hand as you like with a retreat cost of 4, and do 50 damage for each Pokemon discarded. Now, bearing in mind we got Pokemaniac to search them out, searches out 3 in one go, that's going to help, and you've got Buff Padding that goes and does, well, it gives you an extra 50 HP, and let's not forget the Lickitung that lets you draw a card for each Pokemon in play you've got with a retreat cost of 4, and you've got some other tricks for large retreat costs. But here, you can KO anything. Even if you're confronted with a tag team GX like Magikarp and Wailord, all you really need to do here is just discard 6 Pokemon from your hand with a retreat cost of 4. And then you get a 1-hit KO. It's only for 2 energy, so you can use anything like Welder or Triple Acceleration Energy or whatever you like to get going. and it can one-hit KO literally anything, I believe this might be a genuine powerhouse deck. It might not, but stage 1, 2 energy, can one-hit KO anything. Come on! And I think the top 3 is really where we start getting to proper great territory. Some of the ones I didn't include, I think you could have popped in the top 10, but I think the top 3 are the top 3. And in at number 3, I'm cheating again, we've got LILLIE'S Resolve and Roxy. Basically, the new draw supporters from the set. So what we've got here is Roxy lets you discard 2 Pokemon from your hand and then draw 3 cards for each one discarded. Works wonderfully with anything like a Mulga that searches out Pokemon, or something like Lure Ball that lets you flip 3 coins and for each head put an evolution Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. But it's just great draw. And yeah, there'll be games where you don't have the Pokemon in your hand, but like I've said, there are ways to fix this. And let's not forget that either Coughing or Wheezing, that just miss the list on their own merits, if you discard either of them using Roxy, you do 1 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So if you work this properly, you draw 6 cards while doing 2 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. And we do not have many trainer cards that can do damage to your opponent. That's pretty great. LILLIE'S Resolve lets you flat draw 4 cards, and you never get to flat draw 4 cards. There's always a catch, and there is a catch here. The catch is that if at the end of your turn you've got more than 2 cards in hand, you've got to put cards back on top of your deck until you've only got 2 remaining. But at the end of the game, this is great draw. Or if you just make sure that you can play enough such that you've always got 2 or fewer cards left in your hand at the end of the turn, you'll be absolutely fine. These are the 2 good new draw cards from the set, and that's why they come in at number 3. In at number 2, RESHURAM and ZEROM, the kind of card that in several other sets could easily have been the number 1 card in the set. I made a video yesterday boldly claiming that this is now the best Pokemon deck, and although some people have pointed out there isn't enough evidence, I showed you 3 winning lists from week 1, and frankly, I expect it to keep going. Maybe it doesn't, but I feel really good that it will. 1 fire, 1 lightning energy, discard up to 3 fire and lightning energy from your bench Pokemon, and do 90 damage for each one you discarded. But it's fire and lightning. So you've got Tapu Koko, you've got Welder. Pre-rotation or in expanded, you've got Kiawe. And then you can use Naganadel. And if you're using Naganadel, you can use Beastring. And it's really not difficult to get the energy here. And then you're just hitting 270. Now, to be fair, Mega Sableye and Tyranitar and Magikarp and Wailord will survive, but they are literally the only 2 Pokemon in the game. Maybe if it was harder to get the energy out, it wouldn't be good enough, but it isn't. So it is. It's even got a GX attack that does 170 to a bench Pokemon. If you played End's Preparation this turn, you get to do 170 to another. If your opponent's got a couple Dedenne on the bench, that's 4 prizes right there. I expect this to be the best deck after rotation, bar none. I mean, look at the other good decks. Reshiram and Charizard can't one-hit KO you, but you can one-hit KO them. Pikachu and Zekrom can't one-hit KO you, but you can one-hit KO them. Garchomp and Giratina cannot one-hit KO you, but you can one-hit KO them. And alright, Blacephalon can one-hit KO you, but they've got to Lost Zone 6 energy to get a KO. You've got to discard 2. Yeah, I feel really good about this being amazing going forward. But number 1, SILVALLY-GX, and I don't think it's even that close. I expect SILVALLY-GX to be the best GX, unless we get something ridiculous until it rotates. We've just lost Zoroark by the time this comes out, and this is the new Zoroark. Stage 1, 210 HP, fighting weakness, but it's got an ability which is literally Octillery from Breakthrough. Once during your turn, draw till you got 5 cards in your hand. Oh look, it's a stage 1 with a drawing ability just like Zoroark. And then for 2 colourless energy, you do 50 damage but 70 if you played a supporter this turn. Or to put it another way, you should be doing 120 for 2 colourless energy just like Zoroark. But you've got a GX attack, which is the same as a second Alolan Ninetales, instant one-hit KO on any tag team GX. You could never really use Zoroark's GX attack due to the awkward cost. And you've got all those memory cards that let you change the typing, so you can hit multiple different types for weakness, rather than one irrelevant type. I'm not saying it's definitely vastly better than Zoroark, I'm saying it's extremely similar, and has two at least genuine huge advantages in the GX attack and the different typings. And as far as I'm concerned, it's number one, and it's not even close. But I'd like to know what you think about this particular set, and where you would have ranked these, and what other cards you would have put on the list. And maybe you want to give me a full top 10, in which case, please do. Go nuts in the comment section, but please be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.